Shalom, assalamu alaikum, my friends. I wanted to make this video about the teenage crowd that were beating on the soldiers, the Marines, at the beach on Memorial Day. We're going to listen to with the media. Now, remember what I told everybody about how the media is the ones who are promoting a certain kind of ideology, and this is the means that they want you to be like. You got to be like us. You got to be like us. And this causes a great division in people because I'll get into it. First, let's watch what the media on Fox is doing. Now mind you, this side is better than kids beating up on people, of course. But people want to understand greater about, well, why is it happening? That's where I come in. That's who I am. I educate you on why something is happening. All right? And then I explain to you the mentality of people that are coming out, that are giving their 2 cents into what I like to call the law of God, of how a man is or a woman is, right? All right, now let's go. Dive in.
That's it. Can we start building a culture of thanks for our veterans in this country, people who have served honorably, who defend our freedoms every single day? Because if we don't, that mob of 40 people, they don't understand. There are countries who live on their knees, and we don't. We got to start saying thank you.
You know, Kaylee, the first time I watched that video, and I've seen it several times today, just in disbelief, the thing that pops in my mind, outside of where are the parents, but where are the consciences of these children?
Yes.
Like, why haven't they, they're in our ecosystem, in the greatest country in the world. Why isn't that rubbing off on them to make them want to be greater?
That is the key question, Harris. I want to step back, and I'd love to know about the family life of these 9 juveniles. I mean, what was their family life like? What was their faith life like if they had one? What was their upbringing? Where did they lose compassion and empathy and understanding and love for our military? I mean, these individuals who went up to them said, "We're Marines." They identified themselves as Marines beforehand, so they knew these were men and women, or men rather, in the military, and then they went after them nonetheless. And I think about what you do with your children, Chris, and I think that's beautiful, going up and thanking first responders. And I contrast that with other videos that we've looked at here on.
Now let's get this, because I've heard enough of what people say and everything. Like I said before, all I have to do is listen to a little bit of something, and I get the great picture. I could say to you, Kaylee, look at how you dress and the outfit that you wear, the persona of what you want to represent is yourself in the world. Me, now you have to understand who I am and what I have been through, so you can understand my brain, the way it functions, the way it works, the way I see things on a constant that you may have to think into to get the understanding of. Me, on the other hand, I live it. I have to live in it. So what I say to her is, I was in school, high school, all these type of things, elementary school. I know about cliques. I know about everybody got to wear the Doc Martens. You're the cool kid now. Everybody got to wear the Michael Jordan. You're the cool kid. If you didn't, you wore the cheap shoe Pro Wing, and you were targeted and made fun of, and so on and so forth. You clearly are still representing that as who you are on the media. I mean, it's a difficult trail when you want to go on that. Remember, I told you in the beginning, there's many different paths and trails that you can take. They all lead you to the death. There's only one way, one truth, one path, and that's Yeshua. That's Jesus. But there's many other things that you can do that look godly. So what you all are doing up here looks godly, looks good and righteous, but in reality, it's not. And I'll explain to you why. It's just because the basis of what you are saying. A Marine guy is a wonderful guy, and you automatically put that in because of a uniform, because of something that we know of as a soldier. What if anybody can put on that uniform? What if a corrupt individual who's a smartass in high school, who was a smartass, who is still in this manner of mentality, he is bigger than you, so I'm tougher than you, I'm better than you, I'm badder than you. What if these mentalities are putting on these uniforms? And what if these mentalities that put on these uniforms act out on the citizens that these uniforms are supposed to represent, to protect? All right, you understand this? Because this is where you get into, like where I have told you that the things that we have are not bad organizations. It's the living creature that's in the organization that's corrupt, that fouls it up. You see? So why so many ex-military want to be a police officer? That's a whole different, and people need to understand the concept of peace offer, because that's the original term, is a peace offer. And it delves into a peace officer from the offering, making sure that it is peaceful in that manner, understand? Now today everybody wants to play cowboy. Everybody wants to be a thug, a gangster, because in the movies and television and videos that they show, this is presented that the thing that we see is beautiful, the thing that we see is cool, the thing that we see is whatever that it is that the media in the entertainment industry shows you. That can be yours if you're like this persona of a man. You see what I'm trying to tell everyone? So even though you can try to reflect out, and I say this to, because all of them are talking about being Christian in that manner, yet none of you have your Christian interpretation proper of your book. You run around believing that Moses turned sticks into snakes, and then you're going to tell me how I should act in the world. Like I said from the beginning, yes, their way is better than going out producing that kind of criminal activity. Of course, man. Let's not be stupid here. But let's go down to what they were wanting to understand is, where were these guys' parents? What was their upbringing like? Was they religious? Was they not? What does any of this have to do with what you have become? You understand what I'm trying to say? So, for instance, as a child, I played with toys. As a man, I became man. I set aside my toys, and I don't play with them no more. You understand what I'm saying? You, on the other hand, in your mentality of trying to learn more about God, so in the beginning you were told Moses turned sticks into snakes, you're all the hocus pocus, all this character building, this moral building of a person, it's good, it's fine. Not saying anything bad about it. I was involved in it. I was a child that was brought up in that morality and that type of character, just like all of these people. I knew about the shoe that made you cool. I knew about how to talk. Oh, we're the cool kids now because we can pretend to cough and say, oh, asshole. And who does it? Who showed us how to do these things? Oh, entertainment industry. Entertainment industry. The Antichrist will allow a craft to prosper. You have to understand this craft that they're allowing to prosper. This craft is ancient. This craft goes back to even seers, people of Greek who used to have, or what do they call them, oracles. And all these tricks and magic shows and hocus pocus and all these teachings of things. Even though the teaching may be like a righteous thing on the path, the path itself leads to death. Even though there may be little snick-snacks along the path that leads to death. But even Hansel and Gretel, on their path and journey, they ended up being almost eaten by a witch. So, even though what these people are trying to find, where is this, where is that, you have to understand that if you're in your persona of yourself, like I see this Faulkner lady, you're big on sports. You like watching sports. That's your, so I could look at you as when you were growing up in high school, you were the kind of girl, oh yeah, I have spirit for my school, I have this, I have that. Oh, that's fine, that's wonderful. I had the same, I was the same. But when you look at the reality of it as a childish thing, you should understand that that's kind of foolishness. Children do it. It teaches morality. But there is a greater understanding of that as an adult, you should know. You sitting around thinking it's okay to pay a man millions and millions of dollars to play catch with a fucking ball. Meanwhile, people that are hungry. What about the kids who have the lunch menu, right? What about this? How they pay for it? How they buy it? You're willing to watch the catch. I mean, think about it. If a grown-ass man is going to do such a grown-up, childish thing as a man, you pretty much should be able to pay him whatever you want. He's still going to play the game because that's him. That's supposed to be him. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So why not pay him? All right, you're going to play a game. How many games do you really play? How many? Oh, we pay you $100,000 a year to be a sports star now. Fine, $100,000 is a fucking. I'd do it for $100,000, wouldn't you? Just to play a game of fucking catch? Come on, man. But in their mind frame of them in their high school clique and their things, and they're stuck in it. These people are all there in the media. The mind frame is stuck in the entertainment industry of those humans, those vessels that are going into these places. They're all stuck. Why would a comedian want to be a comedian making jokes and cracking jokes about stupidity? To make money, to profit off of. Because that's in the long run, that is the craft that you're doing. You're taking something that may be foul and prospering off of it. But no one says anything about these people. Instead, you want to point your finger at things that are pointless to begin with. Because the things that you are trying to point the blame at, or this or that, is not even that. Is not the things to blame. The things to blame is what I'm telling everyone of what you're doing in your communities, in your societies, of your mind frames, of what you're believing. So you're going to put on all that makeup and all that stuff and dye your hair still with the fake colors and everything else. You're not an old person. I could see an old person who's getting gray hair wants to dye their hair to the same color. Yes. You, on the other hand, you're like a little teeny bopper still wanting to dye your hair blonde even though you're not. You haven't grown out of that stage yet. Now, for people to understand more about me growing up, you know, I knew I was a very model, to look like a model. I could be modeling, and I did some of that and this and that, right? You understand? So I know that the mind frame, I know where these things are, and I know why you want to be a model. I know all these things are part of me as well. You understand? But I have grown from it. Because I understood it. And I shed that is useless off. And I keep walking towards God. And I keep shedding. Every time this image changes to become better than what it was once. Even that, I keep shedding even that. Even now of what I am. It may appear, oh, he got a lot of information, this or that. Even this, to me, it will be shed and I will still become greater. There's more I can know. Right? But so, in this, we have these concepts, these ideas that everyone understands and is aware of them, but no one is focusing on them. Okay, so Faulkner, you call yourself Faulkner Focus. Why don't you focus in on things that you know are foul and corrupt? You said that there on your media, hooray, I love the game, this game, that game. We're going to play a game, and I'm making a bet here, I make a bet on this. You're doing things that should not be done. Yet you calling yourself a Christian woman. And a lot of these people are all set up there, they do it. And it doesn't matter what religion. You could be a Muslim giving the Muslim news, claiming to be a Muslim, and you're still a foul-ass motherfucker sitting around in your filth of what you grew up in, as did everyone else surrounding this. Like for me, if I grew up in the 80s, I'm going to be surrounded by what? What music came out in the 80s that started to become big? What? Oh, okay. So I'm well aware of what is there, right? And you're well aware of how things manipulate and make impressions upon young minds. And these young minds begin to act these things out. So let's say a young mind is the thing in the thousands, became video games real big, so all the children staying in their damn house playing video games. What kind of games are they playing? 10 years after that, 10 years after we have 10 years, more than 10 years, 20 years of video game type different things playing. All of a sudden now we got a bunch of crazy kids coming around in school shooting people or driving people over on cars and this and that. And still promoting that same entertainment industry of music, because while they're playing the video game, what is in the background of the video game is the number one song on the Billboard top chart is also on this new video game you're going to play. Understand? So they're molding all these things together. And this is exactly what we are doing in the manner, how I can explain, like, of government branches, industry branches, corporation branches, and each branch has their branch that looks like a tree that goes out. It's all blending into one thing, AI. You better be aware of this, because you're allowing all of these interactions of everything that you're doing, but you're blending it all together into your brain to become one kind of imagery of what a human is now. Or I should say, rather, because of so much craziness, we are now blending it so much together, we have a confusion of what the hell a human being is and how are you supposed to be. So why could I not sit and listen to someone who is giving me some kind of religious advice, saying, oh, where did you grow up? Like Haley, you were doing, you were saying, where did you grow up? Where was their parents at? What kind of morality, character building did they have, this and that? And I could look at you and say, okay, with all of your character building that you had, you may be thinking in your mind that you are a greater righteous, more righteous of a person than that person who didn't go to church, didn't do that, didn't. But I'll tell you something, you're not. In fact, you're worse. That's what they can't handle. People can't handle that. Because, you know, when Isa comes, Isa say, oh, be gone from me, I never knew you. But these people, they will say, look, but we did this in your name, we did that, we did this, we did that. Oh, but you're rejecting us, why? Explaining to you exactly why. Why you live up in your rich-ass fucking house, spitting out nonsense on medias, entertainment industries, corporations with their commercials and everything. Why you all are doing this, and then you're trying to tell me how to be. Look at your fucking self in the mirror. Look at yourselves in the mirror. So then we get back to the beating, the actual fighting of the Marine, right? Like I said, it was a image that donned the uniform. So this guy, you donned the uniform, and you chose to don the uniform, knowing, man, do you know what that uniform represents as a USMC? The few, the proud. Why are they so few? Well, because back in the day when they first started, these were what we know of as the mighty men of King David. They were religious guys. You know, like even in the Crusaders days, the soldiers, they wore a cross on them. They were very religious. They didn't sling the sword around like it was a fucking game. They didn't sling the sword around like it was something that we have fun with. They didn't sling the sword around like this. But in this day and age, with so many images that you can watch on different applications that seem to be the things governing the people now, there are so many of them playing games with such things, pretending to be Christian, pretending to know God, yet you're acting crazy. We're better to shoot fireworks off than right by a fucking lake where it goes into fucking water, can't catch fire, or if something can, we ride the water. That's the safest place, man. Everyone should know this. So a bunch of children, now when it gets to the children, you know, if it was okay for them to be setting it off where it was, I don't, you know, you have to have more information about something. If this is a place where people are there swimming, or there's that is known for them to be doing that, you can't be setting firework off. Get real. It's already occupied. Go down the river somewhere. Go find an empty place to do what you are doing, and let these people have their freedom to do and liberty to do what they're doing. Right? You understand? So there should have been a place. Better guidance with governors, with mayors, better of all of these. That would lead to a better communities to live in. Had you have proper people that are donning these positions, better. But back to that. So like I said, I'm not condoning any of this. I'm just giving you guys the understanding of what should have took place according to the law of God. How God working with man, which you should have been doing. Not listening to the media, not listening to the movie stars, what they're going to give their 2 cents in and all this. No, fuck them. They're all fucked. They're the ones who are creating the fuckness of the world. What we should have had is these guys going down there, safe place, have some fun, be a kid, no problem. Now then the other guy, the kid tried to take a swing at the guy. We all see that. That's on the video. Now, I don't know how much the video is. I did not see the argument of the guy. Why would you even be arguing back with kids? And to understand the concept of where they say, well, why would you jump involved and tell these kids not to do what they're doing? That is kind of stupid, because if you are in a beach area, this is a normal thing that people are on the beach and we're socializing without fireworks falling on us, you should have called the police. That's what the damn peace officer is there for. Not for you to play cowboy because of the mentality that you have been bred into your soldier activity, where you failed to understand what a Christian soldier was. Why the few, the good, the proud? I forgot that. Good, the few, the good, the proud. Or the good, the few, the proud. That's it. I forget my own thing. Okay, so anyway, so these guys, instead, the guy takes a swing because the guy wanted to mouth rather than just call the police, and the police take care of the incident. The guy took a swing, he missed. The soldier boy turns around, then that's where it seems like a scuffle is being taken place, right? You can see that. But for me, the whole concept of, you're a soldier? Why would you even do such a thing? What does these children have to do with what path you're on? You're on a righteous path. You're grown. Call the police. If you guys are doing, let the police come out there and tell them to move down. No big deal. Instead, because of the society we live in that's been bred by entertainment, music, television shows, movies, big mouth bullies, all these type of things that people are, we're all aware of this, man. You were once a fucking kid. I was once a fucking kid. We all know the things that influence us and what created certain things and aspects of ourselves. But God says you have to put that aside and learn Him, His ways, His doings, right? So everybody forgot who was inside those uniforms at one time in our history, the kind of guy that was there. That's what we're missing, is those guys. Those guys that are not going to, I don't want to say anything to get myself in trouble, but people know, you should know. If you're where I'm at in growth, you know what I am saying about the kind of man that should be in that uniform. But they don't care. They take any diverse thing and let them put the uniform on. Let the whole system burn and get corrupt and fall down like a deck of cards. That's what it seems like everyone in the world is like. Because we're not the people. We're not taking a stand and just saying like, it's like a drug. It's like, you know, these people, they're talking about drug addicts all the time. Yet you're a drug addict in your brain of the entertainment that you enjoy. That's an addiction. You become an addict to society's ways in a manner. I can dye my hair and be pretty up on here and then point my finger at all the bad things that everybody is doing. But I won't point it at myself and out of my own faults, and maybe I am the cause of these children wanting to be maybe like what I am. So this is what happens, and everybody knows this. As a child, you know, you could see as a kid, you could see an image. I remember the Panama Jack guy. You know, he in a chair, he got that Panama Jack hat, the shades. It was a clothing line. Had all sorts of kinds of cool sayings and stuff back in the 80s. And that was just an image of a cartoon character guy. But see that guy? It's like, man, I want that hat and I want some shades like that. I'm going to be like the Panama Jack guy now. Why? Because he seemed to have it all. Right? You understand? But he's just a character. So even that cartoon character could be an influence to a child. And we need to be very careful in the manners of what we put out. Even myself and the things that I put out, like when you see this banner here, people look at that, they automatically, I know what someone would automatically think if you see me whirling around swords and going, blah, 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 I know what you're going to say and think. Even though the whole concept of it, because you don't read this, if you read it and you understood me more, then you would understand, wait, this guy's not a terrorist or anything. This guy is actually like a preacher. He's telling about God and stuff. Like it's an insane thing, yes. It's like unexpected. It's like out of the crowd of chaos steps forth, God calls forth someone to give his word in the manner that they're all in the world doing, that they are enjoying. They like music? Well, I'll put some music behind my khutbah. You like crazy weaponry and stuff? Well, I'll do some of that and do some martial arts and tell you about the God. But then I get the stigmata like I had, when the FBI visit my house because of things that I do. People think in a manner. Of course. And that's what scares me, is the attention. That's why I don't want follow. I don't want attention. I would love that this could get out to people. But I don't want the attention of it because I know what it brings. It can bring things to me that I don't want brought to me. So I'm struggling it. And I'd say to God, I don't want to do it unless I know for a fact you protected me 100%. I never get in any kind of craziness over any of it. Otherwise, I don't want to be a part of it. Because, like I say, I have grown to be in a manner of a righteous man. I would be more like Jesus. People look at, look, you talk about guns and you're doing this and you're doing that. Everything that I do is weaponry wise is not a real. You have to. I hope you understand that. Some things that I show on video, they may be at a place that's real, and some things are real. But I myself, I don't have real. I don't play that game. I don't care for it. Even I had a father that sell guns. to police and the militaries and this type of things. And I was well aware of it. I shot them. I was in it. But now a grown, I have no need. You know what I have? This is what I have. I have a staff. I don't carry guns and weapons like that. I carry a staff and try to guide people along with my compass. This is me. Now, when it boils down to you try to harm me, well, of course, I am well trained. God has given me great knowledge to defend myself. So, in that manner, I'm not worried. I know how to eat, and you understand. I have that certain knowledges, but I don't need what you guys are viewing as being. Oh, look, Imam Al-Mahdi is going to be a soldier man, and he's going to be like this, and he's going to do these things, and he'll be I vomit those shit out of my mouth. Yeshua was never like this. Yeshua was never violent and act out in crazy manners intentionally against people. He did some things that got him attention, like making a whip and beating people out of the temple. Things like this, but to the extent of being a violent, never. That's far from Yeshua. I never did that. And you're supposed to be like him, therefore you shouldn't be doing that. So in the manner, what I'm trying to say is what they have offered us to be the template of the human being. Like you're born in the world. Everyone asks themselves, why are we here? What are we supposed to do? What is it for? Well, you could look at what you would get taught. Adam, you could grow up to be a man and be like Adam. Well, Adam was corrupt. He fell. I don't want to be like Adam. Well, what's another one? There was the other two that came from Adam. You could be like Seth or Cain or Abel. No, I don't want to be like them. That's bad. They got in trouble as well with God. I want to be like them. Okay, so, well, there is a new kind of human that they're making called transgenders. You could be like that. No, that's corrupt. I don't want to be like them. There's this other human that they're wanting to make. It's going to be like AI. You could be and have that as your model of what you want to be, an AI guy. No, that's not. What is the image? What are we supposed to be like? The fourth image, the one that God had spoken into existence and given it as a gift to Miriam. This was the one you're supposed to be like. That is the image that God loves. All the other ones that we're giving, oh, you want to be a sports player? God don't like God. When I'm saying image, I don't mean that you play sports. Sports are fun to play. But if you're portraying this as this, I am football legend or baseball legend or hockey legend or soccer legend. You know, you get these titles portrayed upon these guys to become demigods or something like this, and now this is your image that you promote. This is who you are. No, it's not. You know, you get into these little bit more things that I try to explain to people on a greater scale if I can. I don't know if I have proper wording of things though, to how to get it out there in a way for you to understand. So, but we have all these different images. You could be a musician, singer, actor. What do you like? No, these are not. There's one image that God gave life back to. One that was rose from the dead. Go find all your other images that are out there that you idolize and you want to be like. Go tell me where they at. Where are they at? Yeah, you're digging them up in the fucking ground. That's where you're going to find them. In the ground with all those bones and all the other dead man grave bullshit rituals that they all did with their dead man graves. That's where you're going to find all of them. Oh, but the living word of God, the priest, the Kohen, forever, the lamb, that's resurrected. That's the image God wants you to be like. That's the image we are all supposed to strive to be like. For that is the image that God loves. You understand what I'm saying to everyone? So what is the fault that they're all trying to find? Who's to blame? It's for all to blame. That's who you blame. You can stand there smug and blame all sorts of... You could blame your government. You could blame the FBI. You could blame the CIA. You could blame all these things. Those are all dead institutions if there's no human that's in it. So what happened in the institution that it became foul and corrupt? It's the human that became foul and corrupt and started... And the people that were working in it, they start to agree with whoever it is that their boss, or they get blackmailed, or something else takes place. You understand what I'm saying? It gets deeper and deeper and rooted into violence and craziness and corruption and bullshit. And who's to blame? All of us. Because we're not stopping it. Because we know it's wrong. We are glamorizing it. I said one time, how come they don't have a disabled person up on the news media giving us the news or something? Born that way. Next thing I know, they've got veterans who got blasted off with their legs or something. They're on there now. They're doing it. But that's not what I was speaking about. Because they have a mentality as well. You know, they have something now as well. I didn't want that. That's not what I was speaking of. So, you have bought and sold your disabled to speak to the people through a public platform, rather than giving the opportunity to people that were born in the manner, not made because of their choice that they chose to go do, and now they became lame from it. You could argue whether it was righteous or unrighteous, because if you was a citizen where it took place, you would say that that soldier was a bad man coming to my home. Right? You understand what I'm saying? It's all stupid. It's all ignorant. None of it's good. It's all wicked. So you got these people up there saying, picking and choosing what they call out wicked and good, when all of it's bad. They're picking out, oh, but this is okay. So you'll use this. I'll take some of this. Everything else is bad. But this, oh, as long as you're like this. You see, that's it's wrong. It's wrong. Now, to a certain extent, when I want to verify this more about the wars, you know, that people go and fight. Certain wars, yes, there are people that are bad people that need to be have a war against, because if they were to rule the world, it would be chaotic. I'm talking about the wars that take place because of the land has resources that someone wants. A corporation needs something from somewhere. They want to create a war so that the federal Fed can create whatever marketplace about it for the rest of the world to purchase or become enslaved by this purchasing idea. You know, you get into the wonderful ideologies of grocery stores, marketplaces, and all these things where you can get your stuff, but guess what? When you become dependent upon what you get, if it gets taken from you, what will you do? In society for many, many years now, before we used to have to go and hunt and get and gather our own food daily. Now you can go to the supermarket because certain groups monopolize, became shareholder, cropper, CEO, owner, corporation, and now you create a grocery store, and now you became accustomed because you have a different work. So they create currencies for you to buy, sell, and trade with. And now you have become dependent upon these things that you think are there, are always going to be there. Food always going to be in the store. Where do you go get food? Where? Tell me, what is the name of the place you go to buy food? A grocery store. Oh, okay. Why is it called grocery store? Where did they come from? You see? So we become accustomed to giving up that which is ourselves. Because if you had no grocery store, you would have to be the one to go find all your fruit and vegetable to eat, or grow your own garden or do something, rather than one man do it for a whole bunch of other people. But you get into this scale like this. They created classes for you. They did all these different things. And I can understand what people are talking about, but you have to also understand that these things were created because they were looking and searching for good, but it got corrupted because corrupt people, like I say, when you introduce something from the Word of God, men get a hold of it, they distort it, and now it became monopolized grocery stores, and there's very few of them where you could buy, sell, or trade to get those things, and you became dependent upon it. Like I said, if they terminate all of it, what would happen to the whole world? You know how quickly in the Bible it says that when there will come a time, great devastation, where 2/3 of the population die. Over what? It says famine. The bowls of God's wrath pour out. It tells you war, famine, different things, right? 2/3 of the world die out. So you can clearly see the dependence and the craziness that we have allowed ourselves to fall victim to ourselves, because the blame goes back to ourselves. All of this goes back to yourself. What would we do? 2/3 is a lot. That just annihilate just like that. This goes away, that goes away. Think about how easy and simple that is. How could there be a famine in the land? Crazy wars can create famines. The earth shifting, moving on its axis, can create famines. Because that is God. We've had famines throughout the land before. This is what I find funny. They use global warming. They use, we have no food. You know what, motherfuckers? Listen to me. Before we had technology, the Most High God was dishing out famines. Don't blame what you're doing. Like, we're using this too much. We're doing that. It's carbon fuel. This is creating that to create. No, it's not. We've had it. There's nothing new under the sun. God creates this. God is shifting the earth, the living earth that it is. It's moving and tilting on axes and everything. Famines will come and go, but the word will remain forever. Think about that before you go around blaming everything on all these different things. You have only yourself to blame for the wickednesses that are in the world. Only ourselves. And we have only ourselves to blame if famine or war or something else happens, based upon what I have told to explain to everybody. Who is putting on those uniforms, man? You get a bunch of guys that are gung-ho warmongers put on those uniforms. What do you expect's going to happen on the earth? You put men like mighty men of King Dawud, who fighting for righteousness and justice for God. Put those men in the uniform. You don't have a lot of fucking wars. You understand what I'm saying? We have shifted ourselves into a foul society and have accepted those things that God has called an abomination. And now we are reaping what we have sowed in our society for generations upon generations. And if we don't do something about it, these other generations that will come after will be very foul, very corrupt. So, like I say, based upon these things that I wanted, to reiterate, is even in the suffering of ourselves, when you see kids beating on grown men, and look what the media says, look what you're saying about it. Rather than going down to that source like I just did, why is it happening, man? We all fucking know why. You fix what causes the brain fuckness of people. People don't act out crazy. Fact. It's a fact. How do people know about homosexuality? Think about that for a minute. They're promoting all the things that they're becoming bigger and more people are choosing to do because it's a fad or a fashion, or they're promoting such ideologies. Stop promoting such wicked things. You get less children growing up being like that, or thinking they're like that, or whatever nonsense spews out of nonsense filth. So this is what I'm seeing, basically is what I am seeing. That we have become now a high school, basically. The world has become full of high school cliques. No one's grown up. This is what I think the hadiths talk about when they say, when the leaders are become like kids, everything be childish. That's what I think that Muhammad's talking about, because you look around the world, you're looking at everybody like in a clique, man. The fuck is wrong with everybody? Are you still stuck in high school? You haven't thrown off those old views and found yet that one man that we are supposed to be like? I don't care how many Christians out there saying this and that. If you don't say what I'm saying, have you not found that man to be like? Don't call yourself a Christian. If you're not acting like he was. Don't go around in your big fancy mansion with your high heel pumps and your fake lipstick and mascara and eyelashes and fake hair, and go around saying you're Christian and pointing the finger at all the foul things of the world and speaking about it. Because like I say, nobody would know about it had not the media spewed it out of their garbage. What we call this is the image of the beast TV. We haven't given it life yet, so it's not the AI false prophet yet. We just have the image. And the TV spews out so much nonsense. And they call themselves by titles. I am a celebrity. I'm a news anchor celebrity. It's always this, these titles they want to be called. Remove their pay and remove their title, and watch how nasty they become. Watch how foul they change. No matter how much makeup you put and cover up on them, watch the distortion that takes place. But that is what I think the hadith really means, is that we are living in a high school full of it. The mentality is basically stuck in high school ways. And they do it, you look at legislation, you got all these guys that used to go to colleges, and in their colleges, they were part of frat house. And the cross and bones, you get into these things. And now you get the senators that are all old men that have been in their positions for years. When in the beginning, they used to actually have terms, and now they don't. But you see that if you keep these cliques as cliques, you see what breeds, you see what takes place. When you're not following God's way, you must be following the way of another person, because there's only God's way or other ways. If you're not following God's way, then you're not on the right path. Therefore, these guys are not right. So you clearly see how certain things, like I say, it has corrupted us to become in this manner, because you get grown-ups where they accepting their childish ways, and then they bring these childish ways into places of business and corporations. And it look like Elon Musk exposed a great group in Twitter. Look at Twitter, all the grown-ass adults working in Twitter, where he had to fire all of them because basically they weren't working. But they're all getting paid because of so many people in it. But you could do this work without so many people, in the manner. So it's a way it's exposing the silliness of what we have created for what a worker, what your work is, what you do. It's a silly thing. And the more we get into technology and the AI and these robots, it's even going to be even sillier. It's silly enough that you don't produce your own food or know how to grow food or plant seed or get water for yourself or dig a well and all. It's silly enough that you don't know about these things because you have become the, and it's not the bad that you're evil, or it's you this is your where you grew. They had all these things for you. You didn't need to learn those things. You had to go to school to learn other things, how to become an accountant, a fireman, a policeman, a soldier, a lawyer, a nurse. You didn't learn that. You didn't were to go learn how to till the ground and soil and water and all the. You didn't do that. When it gets taken from you, you're going to realize what is the necessity for survival, and you'll throw away all those nonsense things. But because of the things that we create in our world, we have so much free time, and that free time becomes, you know, if you're not working, what are you doing? Your imagination gets going with you, right? So we have all these imaginations running amok in our world. It's become like a high school. Everybody thinking of something and everybody trying to do it. Even though it ain't gonna work and everybody knows it don't work, we'll do it anyway because we got time on our hands to do it. Let's make it more diverse. It can't be diverse enough. Let's make diversity diverse. No, let's make diversities diverse. You see how many layers they're going to do because of the time. And we created this through how we thought life would be a better way. And it was a better way. It's just that there is not any equality and wisdom used in the governance and the thing of what people are doing. You know what I'm saying? No one, we had the jobs, but no one had the understanding of what is the word I need? You know, just because you can go to school to become a doctor doesn't mean that you would be a good doctor. Right? You understand what I'm saying? There are people that are good in things and they should be doing these things. When people talk about equity and equality, they say, well, everybody should get the chance to become a doctor. Okay, well, if we went based upon everybody should get to be, we all know that some doctors are better than another doctor, and so on and so forth. You got a men on a team to play sports. Let's say we got 11 guys play sports. They all playing the same game. Hey, but which one's better? Which is the best player on that team? Right? So we know that even in that, there's a better than, even though they're all on the same team, they all play the same sport, they all doing the same thing, there's still the one that's the best. Oh, without him, we might not win. You understand what I'm saying? So just because you think you want to become something, doesn't mean that is necessary for you to become. What about the doctor? He thinking he's going to do. He does something and he gets malpractice, right? Or something else happens. All these. There's many things. They could go deeper. I could get deep, but I'm not trying to go deep into the layer of them. I'm just looking at the basic necessities of. Yes, you can say that you can become anything you want, but that's not true. Nor is it a reality that we would want in society, and it's been proven, right? You don't want a guy to be flying your airplane based upon something that is not why he is a pilot. Right? So you don't want someone to bake you a cake who builds skyscrapers unless they were a very good baker and skyscraper builder. There is those. I'm just stating a fact in society. But here, because like I say, you can don on any uniform you want, that's a quick way to corrupt those uniforms. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.